It's dominated the track, was a blockbuster on the silver screen, and aerospace powerhouse NASA helped rocket it to a Guinness World Record. Plus, it tried to put WWE superstar John Cena behind bars, and it tragically took the life of one of the world's greatest racing legends. So, let's kick it into overdrive with everything you didn't know about the Ford GT. It's a tale as old as time, or at least as old as 1963, when Henry Ford II, grandson of the original Henry Ford, tried to buy Enzo Ferrari's car company. Just before signing, Ferrari saw Ford was trying to take control of the racing team in addition to purchasing the road car production arm, and Enzo torpedoed the deal then and there. This lit a fire under Hank, and he told his boys at Ford, "You do whatever it takes to beat Ferrari at the racetrack." So, they enlisted Hollywood actors Matt Damon and Christian Bale. Just kidding. They built a race car. They based the chassis on the mid-engined Lola Mark VI. Ford Engineering developed special racing small block and big block V8s. And they got Carroll freaking Shelby, you know, the guy who made the Shelby Cobra, to run one of the race teams. Once they got test driver Ken Miles behind the wheel, the GT40 was unstoppable. It took a lot of time, money, and a few failures along the way, but by the time the checkered flag waved at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1966, Ford whooped Ferrari by taking positions 1, 2, and 3 in the most iconic race car of the 20th century, the Ford GT40. How you like me now, Enzo? How you like me now? The GT40 would dominate the racing world for the next 4 years, racking up wins at the 24 Hours of Daytona, the 12 Hours of Sebring, and 3 more wins at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. After all that success, Ford decided they'd proved all they needed to prove and ended the program. The GT40's legacy was secure. Cut to 2003. Ford is celebrating their centennial anniversary, and they decide, what better way to celebrate than to revive a legend? So Ford announced the GT, a halo car inspired by that champion of the past. Everything about this new GT would be an homage to the GT40, from the supercharged V8 planted behind the driver to the elegant styling. And even though it was bigger in every way, they perfectly scaled the proportions to match the original. The first-gen GT40 was available from model years 2004 to 2006, with about 4,000 units sold. This blue oval halo car was a fitting tribute to the original. After a decade-long hiatus from the first-gen GT, Ford announced it was time for round 2. Ford developed an all-new car, and this one, it wasn't beholden to the past. Ford ditched the V8 for a twin-turbo EcoBoost V6, mounted it to a carbon fiber monocoque frame, and hooked that power up to a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. The 2017 second-gen GT puts down 647 horsepower. It has active suspension, active aero, and billionaire doors. Which, yes, you could install aftermarket billionaire doors on the first gen, but then the taste police would arrest you. The second-gen Ford GT has run from 2017 to this year, with 2023 being the send-off. The second-gen GT has been priced from $450,000 all the way up to $1.7 million, depending on the trim. And with less than 1,400 total units produced, Ford has made an extensive application process to purchase one, even if you have the money. Now, I don't have time to go into every little detail that makes this thing a masterpiece of automotive engineering, but trust me, it is. And drop a comment down below if you think Trav should make a launch control all about the new GT. Now that's enough to get you caught up. So now, it's time for 10 things you probably didn't know about the Ford GT. Ken Miles was truly the unsung hero of the GT40 program, and I'm glad he's finally got his credit thanks to the Ford vs. Ferrari film. But the first test driver for the GT40 was Bruce McLaren. Yes, that McLaren. It was McLaren's GT40 that beat Ken Miles' car on a technicality when they crossed the line together in '66. When legendary racer Dan Gurney took the top step at the 1967 24 Hours of Le Mans in a GT40, instead of drinking the champagne, he turned it into a super soaker, and the other drivers joined in. The champagne shower is now a motorsport tradition, and races all around the world finish with podium finishers giving each other the champagne spray, all thanks to Gurney and the GT40. The original GT40 was named for its height, 40 inches off the ground. It was as low as was legally allowed to enter the Le Mans race. Dan Gurney, that champagne guy I just told you about, was so tall, Ford had to extend the roof of his GT40 so he could fit. You know that application to get a new Ford GT I mentioned earlier? Well, part of it includes a 2-year no resale clause. But that didn't stop WWE and Fast and Furious star John Cena from reselling his in 2017, resulting in a $400,000 lawsuit from Ford. Ultimately, Ford and Cena settled out of court, and the money Cena paid to Ford was donated to charity. Back in 1995, and shouts out to the Hess truck with the helicopter, Ford produced a GT90 concept car. Based on the Jaguar XJ220, the GT90 was supposed to be the spiritual successor to the GT40, powered by a quad-turbocharged V12. The GT90 never made it into production, and it wasn't until 10 years later we got the revived GT. Also, shouts out to the GT70, Ford's failed attempt at a GT40-style rally car in the 70s. The last American-made Ford GT was produced in 2006. All second-gen GTs are manufactured in Canada by Multimatic, a performance automotive engineering firm. And it's Multimatic who are responsible for our next very special edition GTs. Multimatic fully unleashed the new Ford GT with their Mark II, a track-only monster with engine output tuned over 700 horsepower. Only 45 were produced, and they sold for $1.2 million each. And this year, Multimatic is upping the ante with the Ford GT Mark IV. It's planned to be a $1.7 million, 800-plus horsepower send-off to the greatest American supercar ever made. Or you can hold out to buy one of the original GT40s. When they do pop up on the market, they sell anywhere from $3 to $10 million. The Ford GT holds the record as the fastest street-legal car ever. The Bad GT, with 2 Ds so you know it's fast, is a heavily modified but still street-legal 2006 Ford GT. In order to test this 2,700 horsepower rocket ship on wheels, owner Johnny Bomer literally went to NASA to use the Kennedy Space Center runway to max out the top speed at a little over 310 miles per. Ford and Chip Ganassi Racing took the new Ford GT to Le Mans in 2016. Nobody knew if these new Fords had a win in them, but come the end of the 24, P4, P3, and P1 were all Ford GTs in the GTE Pro class. And this was on the 50-year anniversary of the GT40's first Le Mans win. Now, time for what is the ideal Ford GT to buy, powered by Ideal Car Strategies. And if you haven't checked out our free workshop already, what are you waiting for? Just follow the link below. Ideal Car Strategies gives you the tips and tools you need to buy your ideal car, whether it's a rugged off-roader, a meet-ready Mustang, or even your dream supercar, like the Ford GT. So, what is the ideal GT to buy? I'll do you a favor and keep the price below $1 million. My pick is an American-made 2006 Heritage Edition. The blue and orange is an homage to the race-winning GT40s of the late 60s. With only 343 made, they are rare and getting rarer. While it isn't as powerful as the newest GTs, it's still packing 550 horses from its supercharged V8, and the 500 pound-feet of torque will propel you from 0 to 60 in a little over 3 seconds. You get all that power mated to a 6-speed manual and rear-wheel drive, and it'll only cost you around $500,000. Or you can skip the special Heritage Edition and pick up any first-gen GT between $300 to $400K, but act fast, because prices are only going up. Thanks, Doug DeMuro. Just kidding, Doug, we love you! Well, there you have it on all things Ford GT. While you're here, why not throw this video a like and subscribe to the channel, where you can watch videos like this one here and learn 50 car facts you never knew about. Or watch whatever YouTube recommends over here. Otherwise, I'm Garrett. And whatever GT you're dusting Ferraris in, just remember to keep on living that ideal lifestyle.